most people would fear losing their jobs. A lot of people get anxious about getting fired, nervous when they've got a meeting with the boss coming up, but not many people say getting sacked is something they want and something that can save their life. But that's what Samantha Hurst, founder of Clickstart Digital, believes. Samantha, thanks for joining me today. Are you there, Samantha? Can we hear you?
Yes.
We are. Yes, we can. Sorry about that. Now,
okay, great.
How is this possible? Being sacked is a good thing. Explain, because it just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I know it doesn't, right? And I didn't think it was a good thing at the time. Obviously, when it happened, I was pretty devastated because I had a really good job that I loved and I was doing really well. And so I was a little bit blindsided, I suppose, when I got called in on a Thursday afternoon and I was told that I was going to be let go. So, but in hindsight, I mean, I was devastated at the time, but in hindsight, now looking back, I can see how it was just a blessing in disguise, really, because it gave me the push that I probably needed to sort of go out on my own and start my own business, which is something I've always wanted to do, but I was always just probably a bit scared to sort of take that leap, I suppose, like most people are. So, yeah, so when that happened, it just pushed me into focusing more on my own interests, business interests, and then yeah, the rest is history. A decade
Why?
later, I'm working for myself and yeah,
Yeah.
having a
Why
good
is it that
life.
we're so scared to go out on our own? Because I think what you just said is so common in that sometimes you kind of need to be pushed. You don't just decide on your own, and usually it works out well. But why is it that we're so scared? Are we just addicted to getting paid every second Thursday, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah. I think there's a range of emotions going on. I mean, it's the security, right? A lot of people fear of, it's the fear of the unknown and fear of failure, fear of walking away from a secure or so-called secure paycheck. And I think that's probably the biggest things that stops people from jumping in and giving it a go. It's that fear of losing money and, it not working, I suppose. So.
Now, your business, Clickstart Digital, it helps other people start their businesses and help their businesses grow and escape the 9 to 5 and their awful old boss. So what are the exact services that you provide and the sort of education that you provide to your clients?
Yeah, so I started Clickstart Digital, yeah, it was 8 years ago. Because my background leading up to that point, I had run some online businesses and done quite well. So I just kind of, light bulb moment one day, I was like, hey, I can actually help people do what I've done and leave the corporate world and start their own business. And so that's when Clickstart Digital was born. Initially, we were just offering like a website and a training manual and saying, there you go, off you go. But then a couple of years into it, I realized people really need that one-on-one coaching and that hand-holding service to help them through the early stages of, entrepreneurship. So that's when I rolled out the business coaching component to our packages. So it's really a one-stop shop for people that want to start a business, but they might not have an idea and they don't know where to start and they just want a bit of help.
All right, this show is a place where you're allowed to brag and you're allowed to be proud of yourself. It's a tall poppy syndrome free zone. So I want you to give me a story, and you don't have to name names if you don't want, but tell me a great story about someone you met with and have helped drive huge growth or start a new business. What's the one that gives you the most pride?
I think the one that stands out in my mind at the moment, because it's a client that I've been helping recently. So she actually bought a business off us a couple of years ago. So she bought a store selling bamboo products. And she's been doing really well. I reached out to her last year because I saw that she was making good revenue. And I offered her some further help with growing that. And I think she's more than tripled the revenue since I've sort of
Whoa.
jumped back in and helped her a bit more with the yeah, so yeah, it makes me feel good that I'm helping people, and yeah, so and she's doing really well. She's with our help, she's ranking on page 1 of Google for the keywords that she's going after that are relevant to her products, and yeah, her marketing and advertising is obviously going really well, and her revenue is really strong at the moment. So that's probably the one that comes to the top of my mind. So,
Nice. Now, a lot of the businesses you help are e-commerce stores and online businesses. Is this strangely a good time for online businesses because the bricks and mortar businesses aren't really in business at the moment? Or what kind of advice are you giving to your clients during COVID-19?
Yeah, look, now is an amazing time. It's a perfect storm to start an e-commerce business, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what's been going on. I mean, with all of us being stuck at home, online shopping has just gone through the roof. I mean, if anyone's, I think they said Australia posts 2 million parcels going out every day. It's it's literally the perfect storm to start an online business now because, and a lot of our clients are seeing the best revenue than what they've seen, in a while. So now is really a good time. And I do think that with what's happening at the moment with the coronavirus and everything, I think with people being at home more and working from home and that kind of thing, I think it's just changed probably our buying habits a little bit too. People are more comfortable with buying from their home because they've been doing it in the last 2 months.
Well, not even just
So I
comfortable
think
buying. I think we're so bored that we're
we
just
have
jumping on the
to.
computer with the credit card and going wild like idiots.
Yeah, and I'm one of those.
Yeah, me too. I
Every
bought.
every day I'm getting my parcels. I'm like, oh, what did I get today?
It's like Christmas every time the doorbell
Terrible.
rings with the posters
Yeah.
dropping something new off. All right, now, one final piece of advice. Lots of people, like we mentioned before, are in jobs. They like the security of their job, but they've got that itch. They've got that idea. They think, oh, maybe can it work, can it not? What final advice can you give to people who are contemplating starting their own business but aren't quite ready to pull the trigger?
My advice is, well, do it because I've been doing this for 8 years, and it's funny that I'll speak to someone, and I might have spoken to them a couple of years ago, and 2, 3 years later, they're still thinking about the idea, and that's what I say to them. Can you imagine if you started 2, 3 years ago when we initially had this conversation, where you'd be now? If you look at my other clients and the revenue and stuff that they're making now, it's just, there's never been a better time to start an online business. And yeah, if you don't jump in and do it, you'll never know. So yeah, that's probably the best advice I can give is just don't procrastinate and do your research and find the best company to work with, whatever that means to you, and yeah, take action.
All right, Click Start Digital is the business if you want more information and want to look up Samantha Hurst, and maybe she can help you launch your idea. But Samantha, I really appreciate your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Lovely to talk to you today.
Lovely to chat to you as well.